It's a legitimate video game console. This is the Neo Double Games Lite. Yeah, they made that. I'm in it. There's a switch on it, so I can't turn it on with a button, so I have to pick it up to turn it on. Yeah, it's a pop station. But let's say that it doesn't work, in theory. This one does. For illustrative purposes, though, we're going to pretend that you can't figure out what game it's playing, or the graphics don't show up entirely right. That is usually an issue with the contacts. And to resolve that issue, we first need to know how pop station contacts work, so I'm going to make this pretty quick. Did a whole video on what's inside of these cartridges, but we're more focusing on this bit here. This here, little doohickey, this is a zebra strip. And it's basically got little metal prongs in it, in between rubber. And, you know, you stick it in there and it sort of talks to these contacts down here on the main board that you can see. So, that's all well and good. If the console can't read this stuff, the first thing I'd suggest doing is just cleaning off the zebra strip, making sure there's no gunk or dust, good God, on it. You know, cleaning off the cartridges. If there's a little bit of metal on the cartridge, take out a Q-tip, dip it in vinegar, you know, scrub that bit off. If that doesn't work, put a bit, if that doesn't work, put a bit of baking soda on there as well, and use that, you know, clean the, you know, Q-tip, the baking soda. You're gonna have to clean everything up, though, afterwards, so really only use that as a last resort, if you don't want to clean up wet baking soda from all over your pop station. Which is a very, very specific scenario, I've just realized. Anyways, this one doesn't have any metal bits. It is worth checking to make sure this LCD part is sufficiently clean, though. So that's all well and good. You might also want to make sure that the cartridge is not bent or warped, sort of like this. This one's a bit warped, but it's not super crazy warped. If it is warped, your best bet would either be getting a new cartridge made, like 3D printing a new cartridge shell for the display and, you know, painting it like the old one and all that, or just temporarily swapping the LCD into one of the system's other cartridges. So, but let's say that, you know, this didn't work. You can even submerge the zebra strip in vinegar if you feel so inclined, and that if, you know, that might fix it as well. But let's say none of those things worked, right? None of that did the job that you wanted it to do. Zebra strip is getting dirtier being out of the console. Anyways, now you're gonna have to take apart the console. Thankfully, there's just one half of this, really, that we need to take apart, because it is a DS knockoff. It folds. With more conventional pop stations, you'd need to take apart the whole thing. There would be screws on the back of the board that you need to undo. It would be a whole ordeal. Thankfully, with this console, it is not a whole ordeal. Make sure to organize your screws nicely. You want to keep this in good condition and don't want to mix up any screws or lose them. So I suggest just sort of put them in a little diagram like this. You want to take the zebra strip out first, because it might just like fall out when you take the front panel off. Or to separate the front panel and the motherboard, or the display board, I guess, in this case. You might have noticed that the Q-tip, I don't know if I said this already, but the Q-tip is not covered with, any vinegar. That's just doing it for illustrative purposes. By the way, you don't want to use, like, red wine vinegar or whatever. You want to use, like, raw, pure, like, distilled vinegar. Anyways, so I've taken off the back of the console now. I've got this funny blue thing, and this funny gray thing, which I'd imagine are hinge bits, so we're gonna set those off to the side there. So looks like we will have to take the screen off. I'm not sure if this is the console's main board or if it's just an LCD board. Yes, it's normal for, oh, I haven't, you're not seeing any of this. Hold on, I'm gonna scoot all the screws off to the side here. Boop. 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 There we go. Yeah, there we go. Looks like we'll have to undo some screws. By the way, it's normal if the legs on these LEDs are rusty. They're just sort of like that. There's really nothing you can do to solve that. I'm not sure if if this is the main board or if this is just a board for display and the main board is the other half of the console. I'm not sure. Could be either or. It's not really. We don't need to go into Pop Station Technica. Whatever board the display contacts are on is the board you want to be taken care of. This one probably was not the best console to demonstrate with because of these contacts. I think we can probably remove it. There we go. Good. Anyways, so just find these little bits here, these little contacts. Scrub them off with the little, vinegar Q-tip. Put a bit of baking soda on there if that doesn't work. If you're having trouble with buttons, you might want to find where the buttons are, the button contacts are. Put those back together. I have to figure out how to, speaking of putting things, or not put them back together, but sorry, scrub them off. My mind's a bit frazzled right now because pop stations. Just, scrub them off. Going to put this LED back, make sure to separate the legs so nothing shorts. And then we can just, hopefully, we should just be able to put the console back together and have it work and be cleaned. So there you go. That is your handy guide on how to clean pop station contacts.